What is up, people of YouTube? I am your host Vernon. This is Temple Bar. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, for 4 years I've been fishing here in the Vegas area, and for 4 years I've been saying that I will make a video here at Temple Bar, and I think it's about time we finally do so. Now, just to be clear, Temple Bar is to my right side. Of course, you're not allowed to fish within inside the marina, so we are on the outside of the marina. We are actually at Ladder Cove. It's a pretty decent spot right next to the marina, where you have access to some deep waters depending on the water levels. As the water goes lower, these spots get a little bit more tricky to fish. But we are out here in spring hoping to find some bass, maybe some carp feeding. We're going to be targeting these types of fish out there today to see if we get anything. Now, I would like to point out that Temple Bar is of course on the Arizona side, but having a valid license for both Nevada and Arizona, you're allowed to fish in this area. It is still shared waters. But enough chit chat, let's get to fishing. Alright, so on our way over to this spot, it is quite a hike. You have to get over these hills. So it's quite a hike to get to this particular spot where we decided to fish here, because on the way here we saw some carp up shallow, and more importantly some bass here and there, and that's going to be our two main focuses for today. So for that reason we have the carp rod out there. That's just some corn soaking in the water, seeing if we get some pre-spawned carp. And the second rod, that just has some night crawlers. That's just out there with some night crawlers, maybe some catfish, maybe some of the bass will be willing to go for little moving worm. But these are the two baits that we're going to be soaking out there. The idea being that when the sun gets higher and these fish maybe start heading towards these docks to go hiding, we can still try and find them in between these docks. But for the time being, we're going to move around, be casting around, see if we get anything. Now, once again, I'm saying we because the wife is out here. She's back there in the cove trying for some bedding bass. We'll leave her to do her thing. We'll see her a bit later in the video, I'm sure of that. But for me, my second rod, I'm going to start off with some paddle tails, maybe just throw them around, see how the fish are reacting before swapping over to stuff like Ned rigs and crawl imitations.
So I can see a little largemouth bass just here, and I have a little Ned rig with one of these green and chartreuse TRDs on there. Let's see if we see an interest. Looks like it might be a little shallow for his liking, so let's try that again. I don't want to go all the way into that drop off that we can see just here in front, because he is pretty shallow. Let's see if we can attract any interest. Let's give him a break and see if we can move along a little to that side, because we saw one coming in on that side as well. Okay, so there's another one. Oh, he definitely stared at it. So another one just joined the party. Or what's that? Might be a shad. Bass chasing the shad. So I'm super close to its bait now. I need to do a color swap. I swapped out to a little purplish one. So let's see if we get interest from that. So I don't want to stand up because he's just here on the periphery. Might scare him away again. That was a horrible cast. Let's try again. Next to that little brush. Definitely coming its way. Now we're on the edge. Turn away.
Much later.
Alright guys, been throwing around all sorts of lures trying to find any bass. Finally swapped over to a little shaky head and we got one. Looks to be largemouth bass. Been seeing quite a lot of smallmouth as well. Just want to get him tired a bit so we can bring him in closer. Got the drag rather loose on this thing. Got some shad behind our little bass there in the water. They're busy spawning as well. These bass aren't spawning yet. In fact, they're not even sitting on beds. They're near beds, looking for beds. So not yet spawning, but let's quickly see if we can get our hands on this fish. There we go. Decent male largemouth bass. First fish for today landed. Got him the top of the lip with a little shaky head. Nice fish. Good green colours on him. Bit of a belly. He's nice and fat for the spawn. Not that heavy. Would say about a pound. But nice little fish. Alright, so happy to be on the board with a fish. Let's get this guy back to the water so he can go and do his thing. One good quick kick and he's off. Back to some tires to go and find somewhere to hide. So right in between those tires there's a fish. Gonna cast this towards that. It's a bad idea. That fish takes it, swims down. There's no way we're gonna get him out of those tires. He's gonna get wrapped around something and a line will snap. Let's give it a go. Net pressure op. Alright, so this was the one in between the little tires there. Unfortunately I had to get him out of the tires before I could start filming and recording. Let's quickly see if we can land this guy. He's been splashing around quite a lot. Don't know how long that hook's going to stay in there. So let's land him. There we go. Second largemouth. Again, kind of the same size, but it's definitely not the same one. He doesn't have the same spot on him as the other one does. So two males in the same area, waiting for better water conditions and for the females to come up shallow. Nice big mouth on this guy. And once again, this little guy on the shaky head robo worm. We've been seeing them follow all sorts of things, little craw imitations, other types of worms, but it's a shaking, that little constant moving that seems to get them to strike. Let's get this guy back to the water. And off he goes. Back to the tires to go hide again. Alright guys, this time around it's on a little Ned rig and we have a smallmouth bass. This is been seeing quite a lot of smallmouth bass today, but this is the first one I could get to go for one of my lures. It was right next to these tires. There's a bed. Threw it on that bed. And there we are. Smallmouth bass landed. Still has the little marks here on the operculum flap, meaning this is again a male trying to nudge females towards his bed. Got this one on a little Ned rig, little mood ring Ned rig. It's been working pretty well for me. A particular color in these super clear waters. There we go, nice decent smallmouth bass as well. Bit smaller than the largemouth, but happy to get another different type of bass for today. Alright, so let's get this little guy back to the bed, put him back in the water. And off he goes. Also heading straight to the tires to go hide. They do the same thing when you hook them, they go to the cover. So you have to kind of force them out of the cover. Missed him. Both the wife and I have been trying to catch this fish on the bed. Got him a few times to commit to the little Ned rig. What he's doing is he's picking it up at the tail part, and I'm not getting the hook in him. This time we got him. He took the entire Ned rig. My wife is going to be furious with this. She's been trying to get this fish the entire day. But at least she will be able to see from my video what I did different. Just want to keep him away from the rock ledges. See if we can find a spot we can land him. There we go. Bit bigger one. This one is more like 1.5 pounds. Decent fish. Happy to have finally landed him. The wife already saw I caught him, but we're going to put him back. Who can protect his bed again. Not going to keep him out of the water too long. This one is rather a bit skinny, but happy to have at least got him. So let's put him back to, let's get him back to the water. And down he goes. Now he'll swim around into some deeper water, and in a while he'll make his way back to his bed. No eggs or anything on there at the moment, so no harm. But it is important to release these fish so that they can spawn and protect their beds from stuff like bluegill. But hours of hard work for that fish finally paid off. Alright, ladies and gents, been trying to fish for this fish for more than an hour, been using all sorts of things, finally managed to get him. This is going to be a new lifer for me. This will be my first black crappie. My first black crappie ever. There we go. Nice dark colors on this one. New lifer, first crappie ever. We're going to get some measurements on this one.
Gorgeous.
Got him on a little crappie jig, having that suspended beneath a bobber. Been trying quite a while to get him. Let's quickly just get him some oxygen. Just want to give this fish some oxygen before we quickly get a measurement on him. Gonna want weight and maybe some length as well. Alright, that's a 0.54 kilogram. That's 19 ounces. 1.1 pound. Decent black crappie. Let's quickly get him some oxygen again. Alright, so we want to measure the length of this fish just to know how big he is, but we don't have a ruler, so I'm just going to put him right next to this rod of mine so I can measure that. It's about an inch from the last part of that rod. I'll measure that and we'll put the length here. So for 4 years been fishing Lake Mead, trying to find crappie. Finally got one, got to see him next to the little tires, threw a little jig at him, and we finally got one. Beautiful colors on them. Let's get this guy back to the water.
Cool.
Alright, so just wanted to get a few final photos. Let's quickly release this lovely guy, get him back to the tires. And slowly making his way back to the tires in no rush. Now Lake Mead only has black crappie, no white crappie, but that one clearly has his spawn colors. That's why he's so dark with the greens as well. Normally they're more pale with the little black dots, but lovely to get that one at least. Alright, ladies and gents, what a mixed bag we got out there today. Yes, I did manage to catch 5 fish, but the wife didn't get any. Now, of course, I love when she goes fishing with me, but it also does help to show me that even though I caught fish, she didn't. She used the exact same lures, exact same fish. Now, a lot of times that's something we YouTubers tend to forget. We show you we're throwing the lures and we're catching the fish. But for the average person that's not out there week after week trying to fish, it can sometimes be difficult to catch the same fish using the same lures. It takes weeks, days, and years of practice to learn how to exactly move the lure in the right way to get that strike. Now, anyone can get lucky and get a hit, but it does take some skill to get the fish to focus on your lures. But that's the important thing. You need to go practice, and who knows, these fish were quite stingy according to me, but sometimes they might be a bit more eager to bite and you might catch some better fish out there. Now, of course, we threw quite a lot of lures, got some fish out there, but these seem to be all males still waiting for the females on the beds, a bit behind some of the other lakes and ponds. And I think by the time you guys are seeing this video, the fish should be a lot more active, so maybe you need to think about going out and finding some fish for yourself. Now, of course, we stuck to the exact same spot. There's a lot more to this cove, lots of tires and stuff to go fishing as well. And alongside that, we had carp rod out there, no hits on that. Seeing a lot of carp around. They're not looking like they're in their spawn yet. They still look to be feeding, but we didn't get any fish on the carp setup, nor did we get any fish on the base that we were soaking out there. Had some night crawlers out there, didn't get any fish on that. So, of course, the time of year and the type of fish, you need to be thinking about what fish are active and how to target them. That's very important. And of course, Lake Mead has always been a boater's paradise. So if you have a boat or a kayak, you can get some a lot better spots to reach. For us bank anglers, it can be rather difficult, and with lower water levels, it can be difficult to find fish, but this is still an option that is available. And once again, it's an hour and a half's drive from Vegas to get here. You might say that's too much. There's a lot closer spots, but I do want to remind you that for 4 years I have been trying to find crappie here at Lake Mead, and this was the first time I actually managed to get one. And that is why I always say it's good to explore new spots. If you're always going to the same spot, you might not get some different fish. So changing it up every once in a while, you can always get a new life lister like I did today. And even though the wife didn't get any fish out there, we still had fun. And that's a good thing, getting out in the sun, having fun before it gets too hot. And on that note, I think that's where we're going to end this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, following along. Please do give me a little thumbs up for catching a new life lister. And if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, consider doing so, hitting the big red subscribe button, joining my community. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. But thank you guys for watching. And like always, see you next time.